All right, cool. We're back to share and record. This is part 2 of class 6 for CAD 212 architecture. We're learning how to create materials, to create a new material such as a floor, a carpet, paint, many different aspects of different materials that you can create. We want to start in the Manage tab. We're going to go to our Materials tool. This should look familiar. This is the materials browser that we came up with before, but we used that while we were within creating floors before. So here we're just going to create the new material by coming down to this little orb on the bottom. It's create and duplicate materials. So we always want to create new. And then this default will come up. At this time, I want to rename this. And I'm going to call this floor tile. Say if this is for the kitchen, and my initials. And the reason I do it like that is just to keep things organized. I'll know all my floor stuff is together. If I type floor, notice how all this stuff is alphabetical. So it's just, if you can keep all your materials grouped together how you want it to be, say paint, everything is done as paint, it'll just make this stuff easier to find later on. So with this now set to floor tile kitchen, I want to come back down here into my asset browser, and I'm going to click on that. And here I can kind of look through here to find a floor tile that I like for my kitchen. You can use the search bar up here, but it's doesn't work that well all the time, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I find it easier just to scroll through. It's interesting to scroll through to see what options that they have out there, and then you can just kind of find something that you like that you may not have. We have some caning here. This is new. They've added a lot of cool new stuff on here, which is really nice. So you can just kind of scroll through and see the different options. And remember, obviously, this is a wall shape, so this is for a wall. You could technically use this as a floor. If you wanted to go all Elvis and Jungle Room, you could do walls with carpets on and stuff like that. I've had students in the past that have made the entire house out of different shades of metal, which is interesting. I applaud the ideas there, but you can play with a lot of this stuff. Let's just use this river stone right here. I can double click on that, or I can use these double arrows in order to populate that information. So I'll double click on that, and then once I do that, I can close this. Notice how that information is now populated into this material type. This is what it'll look like in my realistic view. If I want it to look like something in my graphic view, remember I have to go to my graphics tab, and I always have to click on Use Render Appearance. And let's click OK. Now I've loaded this floor type into my Revit model, into this specific model. So what can I do with that now? So now I'm going to go ahead and go back to level 1. And in this room right here, I'm going to go ahead and create that new flooring. So I'm going to go back to my architecture tab, floor tool. I'm going to start with a generic. I'm going to go to edit type. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to call it floor tile kitchen and my initials. And I'm going to have to go back into edit, and remember I'm going to change all this information again at this point. So for my tile, say this is, let's just make this 1/2 inch. Obviously, this is, since this is your flooring, you wouldn't want to make it over 1/2 inch. Sometimes you have 1/2 inch thick. Wood flooring, there's a variety of different sizes, but we'll just try and keep things either 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. That's up to your choice. I'm going to change this back to a finish layer. And now I'm going to go into my materials and find that flooring that I just created. Luckily here, it's still like the default one that's still active. I'll double click on that. Now when I create this floor, it's going to be a 1/2 inch thick, and it's going to be the floor that I just created. So I'm going to hit OK. OK, all the way out of that. Now, once again, I can either pick the walls. It defaults to walls. So let's just try that this time and see what happens. But I want this to be my interior wall. So this is not my interior wall. So I'm going to click on the flip and flip it back. I'm going to use my, well, let's just see what would happen if I tried to finish it now. It's going to give me an error. It says lines cannot intersect. We've got lines intersect and lines that are over. It does not know where to create this flooring because we have all these extra lines. So we want to go ahead and at this point hit continue. I'm going to use my corner tool and I'm going to click on the corners here. That one's good. And now this space is encapsulated just in this room itself. Now let's hit that green check mark. All right, so it's telling me something else. Let's see what happened there. Can anybody guess why that gave me another error saying the highlighted walls overlap?
The same thing as last time?
Exactly, great. Yes, I forgot to change the height of that flooring. Very good. So when that happens, it's going to be encapsulated within that floor. I have to go back here, hide this floor again. And there's my flooring right there. So let's click on that. And let's change that height to 0.5 inches. That's going to raise that up. And now we have our flooring on top of that. Let's hide this wall again so we can see what the difference is. So here, if we zoom in closely, we have our 1/4 inch carpet right here, and we have our 1/2 inch tile right here. Right now I'm set to, my visual style is set to consistent colors. Let's see what happens when I change it to realistic. So here we have that, this looks more like carpet now. Obviously this looks like that stone pattern that we picked from before. So if I had not chosen use graphic appearance, everything within consistent color would be gray, and it gets rather confusing at that time. So we always want to make sure to pick use graphic appearance. So, and you can see why people like to use the realistic, because it is kind of cool when you have all that stuff laid out like that. So let's go back to level 1. There's one other thing I want to show you, and that'll be it for today, is when we are creating these room boundaries, if I just did another flooring within this space right here, there would be a gap in flooring in this wall. You'd be able to see the concrete through it. So we always want to make sure that we either create a threshold here, or it's just as easy to change the pattern of this flooring so it covers up this gap in the flooring. So what it can do to fix that is go ahead and click on here, make it active, hit edit boundary. At this time, I'm just going to edit the boundary so this flooring comes through this threshold area. Let's drag that back. Let's use our line tool up here and just connect that. And hit modify and my green check mark. And it will give you this error sometimes. Would you like to join the geometry and cut the walls out? So we're going to put yes. That means it's removing the excess and just staying within this space. At this time, let's go ahead and change that to realistic. So you can see how now this comes within this space right here. So if I just back that up. Yes. And if I change that back to realistic, you can see how it wasn't there before and how we changed that space, and now it comes through that space now. Because if you just put another piece of flooring in here under this area, you'd have a gap here as well. You'd just be able to see that concrete through it. Any questions, y'all? So what I do is I use this time for the rest of the class period and up until Sunday evening to practice on your doors, your windows, and your different types of flooring. Practice creating different materials. As we progress through the rest of this, we're going to use different types of paint types and things like that. So really take this time to kind of explore that. On your midterm and your final, you will be required to create new materials. So make sure that you're comfortable doing that. And also editing boundaries and such. But that covers the information for today. And if anybody has any questions, I can stay after to talk to you about it. If not, if you're comfortable with everything, go ahead and drop. If you do find you need help later before Sunday, before it's due, just send me a text and we'll set up a time to get together and talk about it. And remember, even if you don't get everything finished that you're supposed to, turn in what you have so I can check on your progress. Any questions, anybody?
Ms. Martin, I had a question regarding the Cisco invitation or message that was sent out this morning. What is that?
We used to use Cisco WebEx for this, but it's saying that it's finished, that it was a temporary thing. So I'm still working out the details to try and get this this video stuff worked out a little bit better. When I started the semester, Zoom was working fine. We had like an hour-long class without any interruptions, and now it's not working right, even though I've submitted it a few times. So don't worry about that for now. Hopefully, since I've got a week to go, I can get all this video stuff straightened out before class next time. But Zoom was working correctly at the beginning, and now it's not. So
Okay.
yeah, just don't worry about that. We're going to continue to work with Zoom, and hopefully everything will get straightened out. I'll shoot y'all an email before next class so we have everything straight. But yeah, that's going to be what I'm going to do today, is kind of play with the Zoom people and see if we can get it fixed. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah, no worries. Any other questions, anybody? All right, let's go play with this and have some fun. And if you get frustrated with anything, just let me know and then we can get it fixed.
So there's no class next Monday?
There's no class next Monday. It's Labor Day, so there's no class.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
just to make sure.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, definitely not. So I just want to have everybody turn everything in by Sunday. If you do have to turn it in by Monday, that's fine. I just need to have some time to go through everything before our class on Wednesday.
All right.
All right, everybody, have a good one, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the week.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.